the living shit out of the Indiana Fever. So Indiana Fever, and it's been my belief that they will freaking fire everyone. And I do believe this. So if you're a Fever fan and you're hoping they'll keep Caitlin Clark, it's my belief that when push comes to shove, there's no way they can let her get away. They will fire everybody and start over. That's my belief. I cannot imagine the level of fumbling the bag that would have to be done.
Easier to coach, easier to ignore, and easier to mold. Unfortunately, she received a lightning bolt in high tops, a phenomenon. Furthermore, no amount of obstinate game plans will be able to halt what is about to happen. Caitlin Clark has given up waiting for approval. The light is her. Will the Fever eventually allow it to shine, or will it continue to dull it?
Caitlin Clark meant to the WNBA?
Everything. She's changed the dynamic and history forever for women.
I see a lot of young girls here today, and I see how inspired they are, and she's even gotten me back into basketball.
I think she has brought attention. She did it for us. We had never watched, and we have become big fans.
I don't think her contributions have been extreme as what people think they are. I think the league in itself has been getting better, and that's really what we should be focusing on.
I think she's brought a lot of attention to the WNBA, and it's needed.
I think it's great. I actually grew up watching the WNBA, so it's really exciting to see a resurgence.
She meant everything. I never watched it before.
I'll be gone too if she quits the Fever. It's no longer a whisper. It is a full-fledged call to action. Caitlin Clark is not limited to her WNBA career. For a whole new generation of fans who were unaware of the existence of a Fever 6 months before, she is the WNBA. It appears like Caitlin is about to lose half of the fan base in the divorce, so Indiana had better start preparing a custody attorney.
Example, and there's enough votes here. This is a good test to see how bad this would be. Swag put this out, and it's starting to make the rounds. I voted. Okay, Fever fans, answer this. If Caitlin leaves Fever, would you still support the Fever? We got 1,145 votes here. Nope, my bags are packed is far and away leading.
Nor are they casual admirers. These are diehards who have been baptized, converted, and completely assimilated into the Caitlin Church. Zip codes and team colors are irrelevant to them. Caitlin is the emblem. Her uniform isn't her jersey. It's a GPS. They follow her wherever she goes. The loyalty is to her, not to Indiana. Love and appreciate the rest of the roster.
For letting her cook. Me dinner.
I'm buying Powerade stock.
Is it a play on, like, women shouldn't? No, they didn't do it on purpose. There's no way. How you came up with this and not in the back of your minds, like, oh, they're just gonna be like, oh, it's women. She just needs to cook. Didn't think about that in the PR room. Look, I'm a big advocate of
However, there is no question when the lights go out and you have to decide between a brand and the phenomenon that initially captivated you. Double C or bust is the outcome. Fans of the Fever are panicking because it's beginning to resemble a bust, not because Caitlin isn't doing well. She's doing just what she was drafted to do, oh no. Draw crowds, garner publicity, fill venues, and, of course, assist in transforming this awful club into something that resembles professional basketball. The issue is that her coach may be the only person who hasn't noticed.
Oh boy. Listen, NBA players make 50% of revenues. WNBA players make 9%. And now the merch sales are up 500% and attendance is up, 40%. So they're going to get a raise. There's no question. And I don't really care that the previous 25 years they didn't make a lot of money or lost money. I don't care. They're in the middle of a negotiation and they're on a heater. So it doesn't really matter. I've said this before. I made an investment for 5 years and it lost money. And I got about 6 months left in the investment. And in the last 6 months, they started making cash. I'm not bailing on the investment. I want to finally get my money back. So they're going to get a raise. They're finally turning a corner. But and negotiating in any business is all about current momentum. It's not about 12 years ago. It's about current momentum.
Because the strategy seems more like maybe next quarter than empower your superstar. This, spoiler alert, is amusing since they are losing and losing ugly, not winning. However, the same pattern appears when the post-game talk period comes. If a player falls from a boat, she won't be able to hit water. It's 2 for 14. And the coaches reply, "Honey, keep shooting. They will eventually fall." In a pinch, Caitlin takes one contested 3. Instant lecture. It's more than just unclear. That is performance art on the edge. Supporters are not blind. When they witness what is taking place, they decide not to stay to witness a slow-motion sabotage of the primary reason they purchased tickets in the first place. More people have heard the message than a WNBA highlight on ESPN3 because it is loud, clear, and repeated. We depart if Caitlin departs.
Caitlin Clark is a media driver. She is a ratings driver. Think about the NBA post Magic and Larry, the NBA post Michael Jordan, tennis post Serena Williams, golf post Tiger Woods, right? There are certain athletes that drive the sport more than others. And that's not to take away from anyone else drafted tonight. That's not to take away from the other incredible superstars in the WNBA right now.
Because this is migration, not simply fandom. And Caitlin Clark is the monarch butterfly. These folks aren't carrying Fever merchandise. They have portable loyalty with them. They also don't give a damn if she winds up in the Bermuda Triangle, Las Vegas, or New York. They're keeping up. It makes no difference if the team abruptly rebrands as the Toilet Paper Tornadoes or changes names or cities. They are all in if CC is listed on the roster. It's more than just a fad. Since it's a widespread occurrence, Fever management should be extremely concerned. These supporters aren't attempting to be dramatic, you see. They are merely presenting the facts. They even considered the WNBA because of Caitlin. It wasn't marketing for the league. It wasn't the Instagram or the gaudy ads. Reels. One Iowa child had the personality of a late-night talk show presenter, Steph Curry range, and extraordinary court vision. She made women's basketball must-see TV. Imagine now willingly ignoring that. It would be similar to opting to pave over a gold mine in order to construct a strip mall. The investors are incensed because it makes no sense. Indeed, supporters adore the rest of the team. No one is attempting to remove the remaining entries off the roster.
The t-shirts don't bother me, but why do you take a shot at the Golden Goose, Caitlin Clark? You guys were flying before she arrived on one of those airlines that made you pay for a cup of water. One of those airlines that is the planes are the color of a highlighter. Now you're flying private. Okay, if you're in a band and you're staying at the Motel 6 and you add a band member and now you're at the Ritz-Carlton, keep your issues to yourself.
The worst aspect is that it appears to be deliberate, as if some perverse reasoning is being used in the background. Maintain the rookie's modesty. Keep her from growing too large. Even if the veteran's shooting percentage is more akin to a Powerball prize than the league average, make sure they still get their shots. The spectators are yelling, "Just let her cook," in the meantime. However, someone yanks the pan off the flame each time she heats up. When you add uncomfortable body language, heated press conferences, and dubious late-game choices to that, the Caitlin Clark fanbase suddenly becomes irate rather than merely devoted. They feel as though they have been duped. Your new superstar cannot be hyped up and used as a spokesperson for every company from garden hoses to Gatorade, and then during the game itself, treat her like a glorified decoy. It's not a strategy. That is slow-motion sabotage. What would happen, then, if she left? Easy. Since streaming services were created, the WNBA has seen the biggest fan exodus. One day, you'll be performing for record-breaking crowds in front of packed houses. The following is crickets, and Ninja Warrior replays are attracting better viewership.
Age 23. I'm going to pass on that question, actually. WNBA star Caitlin Clark is transforming women's sports. She fills arenas night after night, and her games have smashed TV viewership records. And if you watch Clark play, well, it's not hard to figure out why. She makes deep three-pointers look easy. And like all stars, wants the ball when the game is on the line.
And don't assume that this is just rhetoric. These supporters aren't playing bluffs. They have already begun investigating other cities. They have group chats, spreadsheets, and maps. In Phoenix, several people have rental apps open. The zip code system in Las Vegas is being learned by others. Since they aren't associated with a logo, Caitlin Clark watch parties are being organized in states where she doesn't even currently play, just in case she is traded. They have a connection to the past. They didn't develop a deep affection for Indiana basketball. 6 months ago, they had no idea what a fever was. It goes beyond just fandom. There are hostages involved. The management of Fevers had only one job. Don't make a mistake. And yet, we see them appear to be attempting to break the only functional component. Fans of Caitlin Clark haven't come this far to be ignored, and they won't stand by and watch her be treated like a glorified ball shuttler. Yes, you should believe individuals when they claim they'll leave if she does. For them, Caitlin Clark is the product rather than a player. She is the center of the entire ecology. If she leaves Indiana, that squad will once again be simply another name on a box score. If you put her somewhere else, that city would immediately become the hub of WNBA adoration.
And I think it's like something where if you are a star in the WNBA, like Caitlin Clark, she's probably one of the few people that anybody you can mention to somebody that knows sports will know Caitlin Clark. Yeah. She's getting a ton of deals. Coke, Gatorade, you name Nike deals. Now, I know a lot of the other players, like if you're the 12th person on the team, you're probably not making that much money, but I just feel like coming out like this, what are they going to bargain with? What is their like thing they're coming with that's going to change their salary? And that's what I was trying to figure out. I couldn't understand because they're already rev sharing. The NBA already gives them money, compensates for the loss they make every year because they lose 50.
The fans aren't showing any emotion. They're being practical. They owe nothing to the fever. Thanks to Caitlin, they gave the team a chance. Caitlin was the reason they stayed. They'll depart as, well, if the current crap continues, Caitlin might decide not to stay. Perhaps you should no longer regard her like a supporting role in someone else's story. Because it's more than simply a trade if she walks. This event is at the level of extinction. Furthermore, it won't be a fever dream this time. It will be a complete nightmare. Stephanie White's coaching style seems to be more about micromanaging her into insignificance than it is about developing your superstar. Right now, subtext is no longer even present. Every press conference has a flickering, barely coded Morse code. I never chose Caitlin Clark. She may have grinned for the cameras and discussed changing the systems, but now that the season is underway, it seems like she's attempting to make Caitlin into the kind of quiet, differentiating, don't upset the boat player that the establishment can put up with.
Female bird. She had Van Slugenhagen on her. She was like, I'm offended that y'all have white defensive players guarding me, and she put her in the torture chamber. You should have known from her little face that she didn't want this matchup from the beginning. Caitlin reminds me of what Dame does. If anybody ever noticed, her first shot, always a three. First quarter, second quarter, third. She sets the distance on her first shot, so you have to guard her there. Now she can do whatever she wants to do. She's playing a chess game. That's what Dame does. He starts his game off. He's gonna shoot a deep-ass three to force.
Here's the worst part, though. Caitlin Clark was never meant to be in the back seat. She is not an add-on to some antiquated strategy that is kept afloat by vibes and gum. She's the engine, the GPS, the Spotify playlist, and the reason the car even started in the first place. Nevertheless, you can almost see Stephanie White making calculated U-turns and emotional speed bumps in each game, as if she were directing traffic rather than launching an offensive. It's crazy since the small differences in play style are no longer the main focus. This feels intimate, similar to the vibe you give someone who was dropped off at your house by corporate, and then you have to smile while hosting the dinner party. However, in this instance, even if the dinner guest is paying the rent and preparing 5-star dishes, they are nonetheless encouraged to unwind and pass the salt. Let's refer to it as resistance. It seemed as though Stephanie White was gritting her teeth during the Caitlin Clark era from the beginning, despite all the lofty rhetoric about embracing her game, vapor. Rather, we have game plans that show Clark parked in a corner while teammates with the all-clear hurl bricks as if they were constructing an Olive Garden with a WNBA motif. Bread sticks that never stop, no buckets. Nevertheless, there is stillness during referee pandemonium when Clark tries to squeeze out 15 assists, 23 points, and some viral highlights while dumping elbows. No acknowledgement, no festivity, just another tense post-match lecture about letting the game unfold or spacing.
WNBA before Caitlin Clark and the WNBA after Caitlin Clark. Describe these two worlds.
Oh, entirely different. 180, you know. The WNBA before started in 1997, the year after the Atlanta Olympics, and was launched into a time when women's sports was still not taken seriously by a lot of, people. And some of those same guys now, if we want to talk about before and after, some of those same guys, or guys like them, are the ones buying the 22 jerseys, wearing them to games, Major, but also to the grocery store and to the gas station. It is now cool to be a WNBA fan, and it is cool to love Caitlin Clark and the spotlight that is finally shining on these players.
It's always shouting, recalculate, give her time to cook, turn around. Every state, time zone, and income group has a fan of Caitlin. People who still believe that the WNBA is played on a 9 FFT rim include middle schools, 80-year-old basketball legends, casuals, diehards, and even certain individuals. She is more than a mere athlete. She is a revolution and a brand. The WNBA is own golden goose, producing media engagement eggs more quickly than the league can make money off of them. She would be live broadcasting her morning stretches while sporting a camera on her head if the marketing team had its way. However, given her occasional usage on the court, you would guess she was a second-round bench warmer. And we're all expected to act as though that's the norm. Please.
Talk about the Olympic stuff.
On the night that I broke the news, someone read me the list that Caitlin Clark was not on the Olympic team, which was June 7th. She had just had 30 points and 7 threes against Washington in an amazing game. And bottom line on this is they did not want her on the team. There was either a sense that she needs to wait her turn. They wanted to give Diana Taurasi the going away present. Name another time when you would ever give an athlete the going away present with an Olympic berth. Outrageous. So Caitlin said, hey, it's okay. And in interviews, she said, it's all right, I'll make it the next time. Well, in the book, I have a wonderful anecdote from then.
Stephanie White is free to use as many coaching cliches as she likes. Adhere to the strategy. Everybody plays a part. We must not omit any steps. Everything is fine until you realize that the only thing being omitted is allowing Caitlin Clark to be herself. The funniest part is that it's not functioning. The endeavor to keep Caitlin in check isn't working. It's causing uncertainty, disruption, and misunderstandings that appear to have been planned by CIR Dussel. Because they can see exactly what is occurring, fans are losing it in the meanwhile. It is a combination of basketball 101 and common sense. However, Stephanie White seemed intent on making the Caitlin Clark experience as difficult as possible if we do things my way.
I was mesmerized by her. And I will tell you this. This was the greatest performance I've ever seen in the NCAA tournament, girl or boy. Greatest performance.
On this biggest stage.
Well, I'll tell you why. Because rarely does a game like this live up to its hype.
Yeah.
Rarely do you have the two superstars play like superstars, because you got to understand that the scout report is geared to stop you. All the hype coming into this is going to be people who've never watched a girls' basketball game watched. A lot of people watch for the first time.
That would be acceptable
right side,
if
now come back to your favorite spot
Rather,
again.
It's causing fan-based and late-game meltdowns, frequently at the same time. Now that the season is halfway through, the story is obvious. Clark didn't enter a team with the intention of elevating her. Fortunately, Caitlin Clark is more than just another gamer, so she's not alone. She is a force. Additionally, motions are not silent. They don't respectfully wait for an opportunity to shine. They assume control. Like a slow-motion highlight reel slam, they burst past resistance. Furthermore, they will be the response to a trivia question rather than a dynasty if the fever doesn't break quickly. Thus, it's possible that Stephanie White never desired Caitlin Clark. Perhaps she was looking for someone easier to coach, easier to ignore, and easier to mold. Unfortunately, she received a lightning bolt in high tops, a phenomenon. Furthermore, no amount of obstinate game plans will be able to halt what is about to happen. Caitlin Clark has given up waiting for approval. The light is her. Will the fever eventually allow it to shine, or will it continue to dull it?